All right, welcome back, everyone. In this explainer, we are diving deep into Module 3 of the Unified Harmonic System, and we're going to tackle a really big question. How does the universe build everything, and I mean everything, from an atom to a galaxy, from the exact same set of rules? We're going to look at the fundamental blueprint for physical structure, and then we'll explore how this system totally rethinks the very idea of motion itself.
So here's the core idea of the Unified Harmonic System. It suggests that underneath all the complexity and what looks like chaos out there, there's actually a beautifully simple blueprint. It's a set of rules that's all based on harmony and resonance, and it dictates the architecture of reality itself, from the tiniest particles to the biggest star clusters.
Okay, so how do you go from nothing, from empty space, to solid matter? Well, it all starts with a surprisingly simple idea: spacing. It's all about where things are allowed to exist. And this is all governed by something the UHS framework calls harmonic shells. I want you to picture dropping a pebble into a perfectly still pond. You see those ripples spreading out? They aren't just random. There's a pattern to them. Well, harmonic shells are basically like three-dimensional, stable versions of those ripples, but in the fabric of space-time. They're like the universe's designated parking spots, the only zones where matter can actually exist in a stable way.
And that is the critical question, isn't it? If these shells are the absolute foundation of all structure, then their spacing can't be random. And as it turns out, nature has a favorite number, a very, very specific ratio that just keeps showing up over and over again. And there it is. You're looking at the golden ratio, also known as phi. The spacing between each of these harmonic shells, it's always governed by this unique number. You can almost think of it as the universe's fundamental ruler. But why this number? What's so special about it? Well, it turns out the golden ratio is, in a way, the most unresonant ratio. That sounds weird, but it's crucial. It prevents systems from creating destructive feedback loops. It strikes this perfect, delicate balance, stopping a system from either collapsing in on itself or just flying apart into total chaos. It's the ultimate stabilizer.
And this is where the unified in UHS really clicks. You see this exact same mathematical principle at work, organizing the shells of electrons in an atom, the spacing of planets in a solar system, and even the spiral patterns of seeds in a sunflower. It is one rule, one ratio playing out across completely different scales of reality.
Okay, so we've got our rule for spacing. We have these nested spheres, these shells. But that only gets us so far, right? Rings alone don't make a universe. To build the complex things we can actually see and touch, you need more than just distance. You need a blueprint for angles. You need a way to create a true three-dimensional scaffold. You can almost picture this process happening step by step. First, you have those stable rings. Then, you start defining specific, allowed points along those rings. Pretty soon, those points start lining up and forming geometric patterns, like a hexagonal grid. And then, the magic happens, when you stack these 2D patterns on top of each other. A stable 3D lattice just emerges. And what's so cool is that by just changing how you stack those 2D layers, their offset, their rotation, you get all the fundamental crystal structures we see in our world naturally. Simple cubic, body-centered, hexagonal, they're all just different stable solutions to the exact same harmonic puzzle. Okay, so we've built the stage. We have the crystal lattice of reality. Now we need our actors to start moving around on it. And this is where UHS just completely flips the script on what we think motion even is. Now, the classical view of motion is kind of like playing pool, right? A cue ball hits another ball, force is transferred, the second ball moves. Simple. But the UHS view is totally different. Instead, I want you to think of a surfer riding a wave. The surfer isn't really being pushed by the wave. They are in a constant state of adjustment, staying in perfect harmony with the wave's phase. In this view, all motion is like that. It's an object constantly tuning its own vibration to stay in resonance with the field it's traveling through. This quote just sums it up perfectly. Motion isn't some brute force event. It's an elegant, ongoing conversation. The object is literally talking to the phase of the space around it, and its movement is just the physical result of that dialogue. So what's driving this conversation? Well, the concept is called harmonic pressure. Think of it like this. If you drop a little bit of food coloring into a glass of water, what happens? It doesn't stay in one clump. It naturally spreads out, right? It's seeking equilibrium. Harmonic pressure is a lot like that. Dense, high-energy spots in the field naturally encourage or push objects toward less dense, more stable regions. That fundamental drive for balance is what we perceive as force and motion.
So let's pull these two massive ideas, structure and motion, together. Let's connect the dots and see where this understanding takes us next.
So when you boil it all down, we've seen that the static shape of an object and its dynamic movement, they're not really separate things at all. They are two sides of the very same coin, which is this universal drive to maintain harmonic balance. Put it this way, structure is harmony in space, and motion is harmony through time.
But this leaves us with one huge hanging question. If everything is just seeking balance, what creates direction? You know, what makes a north and a south pole or a positive and a negative charge in the first place? Well, the answer lies in how polarity and magnetism emerge from this system, and that is exactly what we're going to explore in our next explainer on Module 4. We'll see you then.